Hola, amigos hermosos y maravillosos. Bienvenidos to the Unit 6 Screencast. I love Unit 6, talking about our school day. What class do you like? What class do you not like? Why? What class is easy? What class is boring? It's going to be a great unit. Now, amigos, it's time to share with you, if you haven't figured this out already, that if you're actually going to do anything with Spanish, this is going to take some work. Ay, 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 ay. Hay que trabajar mucho. Sí. You have to press into it and it will reveal its secrets to you. All problems go away over time and with usage as long as you're using the language and staying with the program. So the screencasts, while these sometimes end up being long, of course, the purpose is to, give you a whole overview lecture of the unit that you could go back and watch again and again if you wanted to. See. So first, let's look at this vocabulary of Unit 6. See. No, that's not the vocabulary of Unit 6. That's one of my random things to put in the video, one of my souvenirs from a lifetime of being a Hispanic fan. It says, Hecho en nuestra Colombia. Hecho en nuestra Colombia is made in our Colombia, and up here under the central hole, it says Cali, Colombia. See, Cali is a city. Una ciudad in Colombia. See. Nice. How many strings are there? Cuerdas. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Nice. So anyway, that makes me think, because in this unit we're going to talk about band and ukulele and stuff like that too. Nice. So first we're going to run through the vocabulary. Amigos, did you know that you can listen to Quizlet and those will pronounce the words for you so that you have some idea of how to pronounce them? We have a limited class time together, so you never really hear them enough. So the reason I recite through them and spend some minutes doing that is so that you get used to the sound of it. You can watch again. You can check it out on Quizlet. And here they are, Unit 6 vocabulary. So you should have the packet next to you. It would be helpful. And we have la escuela, the school, la clase, el equipo. You remember that el and la both mean the, and el indicates a masculine noun, and la indicates a feminine noun. La lección. First C is hard like a K, second C is soft like an S. La lección. La pregunta. ¿Tienes una pregunta para mí? La tarea, el examen, la nota, la calculadora, el cuaderno, el libro, el lápiz, la pluma, la mochila, el papel, el pizarrón, la computadora, la pantalla, la oficina, la biblioteca. You recognize similar root with English words like bibliography. El auditorio, el gimnasio, G like a strong H, el gimnasio, when it's in front of an E or an I. In other locations, it's hard like a G, like in mucho gusto. La cafeteria, el almuerzo, el maestro or la maestra. So I've begun using that symbol, the A inside of a circle squiggle. I meant to look that up before the screencast to see what that thing is really called. I'll look it up afterwards and I'll put it on screen right here. But that's how I indicate that the word could be masculine or feminine. El maestro, the teacher, masculine. La maestra, the teacher, feminine. El or la estudiante. Spanish nouns with gender aren't especially well behaved. So some of them change like el maestro, la maestra, but some of them change only the article, the el or la, not the noun, like el estudiante, la estudiante. That was a late addition to the list. So you might not have el or la estudiante on the list that I give you at school because they're already copied and I made it a late addition. On to classes. La clase de blank. the class of history or whatever it is. That's how you say history class in Spanish. No two nouns next to each other in Spanish. It's not your credit card, it's your card of credit. It's not your airbag, it's your bag of air. It's not your history class, it's your class of history. See. Then we have our subjects. La historia, silent H, la ciencia, la matemática, el inglés, el español. Languages are not capitalized in Spanish as they are in English, nor adjectives of nationality, like Mary is a Spanish woman. That Spanish is not capitalized in Spanish. La salud is health. That's the noun health. La educación física. And since the Penteca course is really called wellness, I put down bienestar, which is a word like well-being. And it's used a lot in Spanish in places like, the public well-being and things like that. Bienestar, bien from well, and estar is a form of the verb to be that you don't fully understand yet, but it's very similar to English well-being. El teatro, el coro, la banda, la orquesta. Not orquesta. QUE is always K, not que. La orquesta. Estudio de sonido, la percusión, el ukelele. Ukelele en español. Next come the ordinal numbers 1st through 7th, so that you'll be able to say my first class, my second class, so on and so forth. You'll see that I have the OA symbol at the end of them because, like mi segundo libro, my second book, book is masculine, so segundo, but mi segunda clase, class is feminine, so segunda. So that's what they're doing. They are primero, segundo, tercero, cuarto, quinto, sexto, séptimo. So you say, and then inside the packet, I have 8th, 9th, and 10th for those who are really curious. But since you only have 7 classes, I put 7 on the front. Then in the right-hand column, the upper part, I have a whole lot of verbs. We start with a bunch of new AR verbs. Contestar, enseñar, llegar, llevar, double L like in English, Y, necesitar, practicar, tomar, like tomar un examen, to take a test, terminar, the terminator verb, to end, to finish, intentar, like English intent is to try. Tienes que intentar, you have to try. Entregar, to turn in. Now, on to ER and IR verbs. So not all verbs in Spanish are AR verbs. There are also ER and IR verbs. That's one of the topics in this unit. The way that you conjugate them is super similar to AR verbs of taking off the last 2 letters and putting on a set of endings. We'll get to that. But they are leer, to read, aprender, comprender, so it's 3 ER verbs, abrir, these are IR verbs, escribir, and recibir, that we'll use with grades like recibo notas buenas. I get good grades. I receive good grades. So you have 3 ER verbs and 3 IR verbs. So you have like 40 or approaching that AR verbs, but 3 ER verbs and 3 IR verbs. That's because that's the way it is in real life. In Spanish, all verbs end in AR, ER, or IR. And in terms of numbers, AR is by far the greatest, followed by ER, and in 3rd place, IR. Moving down the right-hand column of page 1, you have a very important high-usage verb, ir, to go. You've heard it since the very beginning. Puedo ir al baño is the to-go verb. However, when you conjugate ir, it is highly irregular, as I like to say. It conjugates with those forms you see there, voy, vas, va, vamos, vais, van, that all start with V. So voy al gimnasio, I go to the gymnasium. How do you get voy out of ir? Well, the same way that in English you get be out of to be, you get am, is, are, were, was. They don't look anything like to be either, but they are indeed the forms of English to be. And voy, vas, va, vamos, vais, van are indeed the English, the Spanish forms of verb to go, ir. So once we learn how to say to go, we're also going to learn that it's involved in a very common construction, to be going to. We use it in English all the time. I'm going to read. Have I read yet? No, it's a future action. Very similar in Spanish. That's what the ir a plus infinitive expression does. We'll be covering it. Now we got a kind of miscellaneous mixed category of words here. We have donde, a donde, quién, who. It has a plural version if there's more than one person. Quiénes, who, plural. Like, ¿quiénes son tus maestros? Who are your teachers? Who, plural, are your teachers? ¿Quién es tu profesor de matemáticas? Who's your math teacher? ¿Quiénes son tus maestros? Who are your teachers, plural. ¿Por qué? Why? Porque, because. There is a pronounced difference, and you'll see a little spelling difference. Porque, two words, written accent on the E. Porque. Why? Porque. Porque. Why? And then porque is because. We'll use that conversationally in things like when you say, no me gusta la clase de matemática. I'll say, porque. Why? See? We have fácil, easy, and difícil, difficult. So we'll be saying things like, what class is easy for you? ¿Qué clase es fácil para ti? Yo and tu turn to me and ti behind prepositions. Para is a preposition. That's why it's tienes una pregunta para mí and not para yo. And the version for tu is ti, T-I-T. ¿Qué clase es fácil para ti? What class is easy for you? Then we have a few words to put things in order. You can combine them with your first, second, third, fourth words to put your classes in order, your day in order. We have entonces, then, luego, later, as in hasta luego, por fin, finally. Pronto, soon, we'll be using it in things like, ¿en qué clase tienes un examen pronto? In what class do you have a test soon? At or to, and al, the contraction of a plus l. I'm going to save that as well as the donde and adonde, where, and we'll talk about them more in a few minutes when we talk in more detail about verb to go. Because in Spanish, you can't go to the library just like you can't in English. You have to go to the library. Now, that's what that stuff is for, and we'll be talking about it later. Then comes a big chunk about telling time. But first, it's time for another random thing. Oh, look at this. Oh, this is scary. Oh, espantoso. Ah! Oh, this is my Mexican clay dragon thing. Yeah, they sell it to the tourists, inspired by Mayan art, I guess. Oh, look at this. He's got a rock on his forehead. Oh, look at this. He's got a face inside his mouth. Rawr! That is muy espantoso. Oh, he's got shiny, faceted things for his eyes. And supposedly this is some kind of horn or whistle, but the sound is very disappointing. Listen to this. I guess that's supposed to be like a roar. What if I try to give it a hum? Another Spanish knick-knack in my home offices, etc. But about telling time in Spanish. So I'll just got to run through the vocab, and later on in the screencast, we'll teach it. We have ¿qué hora es? What time is it? A literal what hour is it? Hora is hour. Es la una. It's 1 o'clock. Notice that it's feminine. Es la una y number, like es la una y 20. It's 1:20. For any number other than 1, they use son las. That's the they form of that verb, you remember. So it's like it's 1 o'clock, there 2 o'clock. Son las dos. Son las dos y 25. It's 2:25. A que hora plus event. A que hora plus verb plus event. Like, a que hora es tu clase de matemática? At what time is your math class? The way you answer it, a la una, like mi clase es a la una, my class is at 1 o'clock. Or a las dos, the E thing works the same way. I'm ending up teaching this where I said I would later, but okay, here we go. El mediodía. Medio is half, so it's a literal half day, midday. El mediodía. And la media noche, night is feminine, so la media noche, but day is masculine, el mediodía. Day is masculine even though it ends in A. Most nouns ending in A are feminine, but not el día, the day. You might be thinking, that looks a lot like the sock word. That's because there's this other word for socks you don't know, which are calcetines, that are like higher stocks or stockings, we might say in English. And medias, your socks, really do mean halves. They're like just the culturally common word for socks, but it's really related to the word halves. They're not tall socks, they're your medias, your half socks. Oh, you are going to like this, amigos. In Spanish, as you know, mañana is tomorrow, but la mañana is the morning. Isn't that cool? No? You don't like that? Estoy triste. So, for example, tomorrow in the morning is mañana en la mañana. Oh, that's nice. I know you're saying, how come they couldn't get another word for that? Oh, well, we have la tarde, the afternoon, la noche, the night, el reloj, the clock. Trilling R at the beginning, the J at the end is not silent. It's like a strong H to put on the end of the word, which we never do in English, so it'll be hard for you to pronounce. El reloj. Somebody's knocking at my door. Hola. ¿Quién es? It's Jerome. You gonna say hi?
Hi.
Say hola.
Wait, somebody there?
No, nobody's there. I'm just recording it for the future. But you know who's going to see this? Senora Pupas is going to see it. Say hi, Senora Pupas.
No, Daddy, delete this part of me.
All right. The rest of you don't know what we're talking about, but that's a private message to one special person.
I am the third son of William Thomas. He has a daughter. Not okay. I'm not.
No.
Okay.
That's not even true.
Yes, it is true. Blah, 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 blah.
He wants Senora Pupas to think that.
Daddy, don't tell. Daddy, you have to delete the part of me.
I'll work on it.
Delete the part of me because I don't. Because then they'll think then Senora Pupas will see I'm a boy. Bruh.
No es un secreto. Tú eres un chico.
Daddy, come on.
Right.
Delete the part of me.
All right, get out of here.
Daddy, you have to delete the part of me, okay?
Yeah.
You promise?
No.
Daddy, come on. Delete the part of me.
This is getting worse by the minute.
Daddy, you have to delete the part of me, okay?
I'll trim it down.
Daddy, delete the part of me, okay?
It's getting longer.
Daddy, can you delete the part of me?
I'll work on it.
You promise?
I'll trim it down.
Daddy, you have to promise to get rid of the part of me. I don't want Senora Pupas to think. I am tricking like Sniper and my other friends to think I'm a boy. So I think I'm a girl. So delete the part of me.
I'll work on it.
Do it.
All right. Fuera.
You have to do it, okay? Promise?
Where were we?
Daddy, you have to
El reloj.
Daddy, please, you promise?
Honey, I'll shorten it.
I don't want it, okay? I don't want me in it, okay?
Temprano, early. A tiempo, on time. And tarde, late. So tarde, the adjective, an adverb, late, but la tarde, the noun, the afternoon. Yeah. Page 2.
Daddy, you promise to delete the part of me?
My love, I will shorten it up. I'll trim it down.
I don't want Senora Pupas to see, please.
Okay.
Don't let Senora Pupas or anybody to see I'm a boy.
Ciao.
Because some of my friends think I'm a girl.
See you later, alligator.
Now she thinks I'm a girl, and that's good. Okay, because my character's a girl, so it has to be a girl. So delete the part of me.
Okay.
You have to promise?
Bye.
You promise?
Not really.
Daddy! I can't let Senora
I'll work on it.
Or she'll be confused.
Ciao.
I don't want anybody to...
Por favor, shut the door.
Please, get rid of the part of me.
All right. So page 2 is all about how we're going to use this conversationally. We got, what's your favorite class? What class do you like? What class don't you like? Why? What class is hard for you? What class is boring for you? Remember that para ti is for you. If you wanted to respond back with for me, it's para mí. Like, El inglés es muy aburrido para mí. Very boring for me. What do you need for math class? What class always has interesting lessons? What class never has interesting lessons? How often is there an interesting lesson in blank class? How often do you arrive late to school? Who is your maestro de subject? Who is your English teacher, whatever? Maestro masculine, maestra feminine. By the way, that's like the English word master also. So they call the teacher the master. Maybe you've seen shows about orchestras where they call the conductor maestro, master. You know, in some schools or in Britain, the teachers are the masters and the principal is the headmaster. So you might hear me use also a lot the word profesor and profesora, like English professor. I'm really used to using it, though it's not on your list. Interchangeable. So, ¿quién es tu maestro? Who's your teacher? ¿Quién es tu profesor? Who's your teacher also? ¿Cómo es la clase de blank? What is such and such class like? What's your first class? In what class do you learn more? What do you need to write? ¿Qué necesitas para escribir? That para plus infinitive. It's like in order to write. What do you need to write? What do you use to carry your books to school? In what class do you get good grades? In what class do you have a test soon? In what class do you have a lot of homework? Where are there a lot of books? I'm trying to get you to say library. Where do you practice with the band? Where do you have theater class? Where do you have lunch? Where does the phys ed teacher work? Where do you go to look at books? Where do you go to talk to Mr. Conant? Where do you go to eat? Where do you go to buy food? Where do you go to buy clothing? Where do you buy your clothing? ¿Dónde compras tu ropa? What time is it? What time do you arrive at school? What time does school end? What time do you go to your house? What time do you arrive at your house? What time do you have English class? What time do you prepare your homework? What time do you watch TV? Out of all of those, the one that needs the most grammatical comment is that para, introducing an infinitive indicating purpose. It's unlike English, so it could be a little bit unnatural for you. Para means for most of the time, but things like ¿qué usas para escribir? What do you use para escribir? Think of it as either in order to write, or perhaps you could think of it as for writing, since para means for. What do you use for writing? ¿Qué usas para escribir? That's an infinitive after that para. Hola, my love. Come on down. Say hi. Come on over. Hey, this is Jasavier. My wife will be very mad when she knows all these kids are in the video. Ay. Okay, so now we're on to page 3. It teaches you about how to use ordinal numbers, first, second, third, fourth, etc. These are relatively minor points. You can read all about it if you want to. I'm going to leave that for you. They go before the noun, like mi primera clase, my first class. They gender agree. And the one exception that you'll hear the most is that primero drops its O in front of a masculine noun. So el primer dia, the first day, it drops its O if it's in front of a masculine noun. The rest of it you can read about. Next on page 3, AR, ER, and IR verbs. So I'm going to assume that you understand conjugating AR verbs, even though in the writing assignment that we did today, I saw a lot of people don't. But the ER and IR endings work the same. So for any of those verbs, you take off the last 2 letters and put on the endings. Here they are on screen. The AR verbs, o, as, a, amos, ais, an. The ER verbs, o, es, a, amos, ais, ein. And the IR verbs, just a little bit different, o, es, a, emos, is, ein. So you see that, you see the AR verbs you already learned. You see the ER verbs are just like them, except switch out your A's for E's. And then you see the IR verbs are different in nosotros and vosotros. There's some helps in the packet to do that on page 3. And then also on page 4, there's going to be a grammar roundup. We'll get to that, of all of your most important grammar. And page 4 and 5 both have the original box of 6, the one with the people, in case you're unsure of which of those boxes goes with which person. Then we cover at the bottom of page 3 the highly irregular verb ir, to go. See? So ir is to go. When you use it as the second verb in a 2-verb group, you'll see it be infinitive, like tengo que ir al baño. I have to go to the bathroom. Oh, por favor. Or hay que ir a la escuela. One must go to school. Also, you don't know it, but the puedo ir al baño, that's a 2-verb group. That's why the ir stays infinitive there. But the rest of the time when you conjugate it, it's this voy, vas, va, vamos, vais, van, all starting with V. So very irregular, would have to be memorized if you expect to know it. Now, as I said a moment ago, in Spanish as in English, you can't go the library. You have to go to the library. That's preposition a, means at or to. Here it's like to. Voy a la biblioteca at the bottom of page 3. I go to the library. However, if you go to a masculine singular location, like el gimnasio, the gym, or el auditorio, the auditorium, the a and the l contract. It's an involuntary contraction. So in English, you can choose to do contractions like I won't tell you or I will not tell you. It's the speaker's choice. But in Spanish, the al contraction is involuntary. A and L involuntarily contract to form al. So if you're going to a masculine singular location, you'll be using al, like voy al gimnasio. I go to the gymnasium. See? Not bad? Easy to understand? Maybe. Fácil. Then, on page 4, the ir a plus infinitive. This is super important. It's among the more important topics of your year. To be going to whatever the second verb is, like mañana voy a estudiar. Tomorrow, I'm going to study. So this is used for future events. You haven't done it yet. So it's got the right form of ir to go with whoever's being talked about, voy, vas, va, vamos, vais, van, plus a, plus a second verb that will stay in its unconjugated infinitive form. So Fred va a comer, Fred is going to eat. Okay, so the big difference here that you should look at page 4 so you understand it and listen to this is that in English there's a be in it. I am going to eat. Fred is going to eat. We are going to eat. That am is are. It is not present in the Spanish version. So the Spanish version is super similar conceptually, but it's not identical. In Spanish, it's just yo voy a estudiar. I go to study. Fred va a comer. Fred goes to eat. Nosotros vamos a limpiar la casa. We go to clean the house. There's no am, is, are in it. So look at page 4 and listen to this a couple of times until you get that. And don't start putting things like soy and ace and estoy and other things related to be in it. The Spanish version doesn't have to be am, is, are. Nice. Then the rest of page 4 is, you might say it's repetitive. It's a grammar roundup. The bottom 2/3 of page 4. All of your most important grammar in one place. Copy it, put it in your clear cover binder, put it on your night table. There's your original box of 6, your 3 irregular verbs, ser, tener, and ir, your regular verb endings, and at the bottom, your formulas, tener que plus infinitive, ik plus infinitive, ir a plus infinitive, the new one. Nice. Let's see. Page 5 is practicing conjugating ER and IR verbs. It's got the endings in the original box of 6 at the top of the page for you to refer to. Nice. Page 6 is practicing verb ir to go. It's got the original box of 6 and the conjugations of ir on it for you to refer to. So I guess this is a good place to put in something that I'd skipped earlier, which is what is that donde, where, and adonde, to where, back on page 1. So donde means where. You've known it in things like donde está el dinosaurio, where is the dinosaur? De donde eres, from where are you? But when there's motion involved, it becomes adonde. Think of it as a compound word. A is at or to, donde is where, adonde, to where. Adonde vas? To where do you go? To where are you going? Where are you going? We would say in English. Adonde vas? Super common question in Spanish. And we'll be using it conversationally with time like, Adonde vas al mediodía? Where do you go at noon? Stuff like that. Say. Page 7, conjugation fiesta. Now that you know all these verbs, that will be nice. Page 8 covers ir a plus infinitive, the to be going to second verb, in good detail. And 9, more exercises on ir a plus infinitive. And page 10, telling time en español. Oh, but first, time. Oh, how time flies. Oh, look, amigos. This is a paperweight from Colombia. It's got a replica of some Colombian indigenous art in whatever you call that stuff. What do you call that stuff? The clear stuff. In a paperweight. So you say, pisa papel in Spanish. It's like a way paper. Pisar is like to step on or to weigh on. Pisa papel. Yeah, my wife gave this to me the first night that we met. Interessante. And you know what? That was 20 years ago. Amazing, in 2001. See? And we're coming up on our 20th anniversary. Interessante. April 14th, 2021. 20 years with Flor, my wife. Nice. Now, telling time in Spanish. So, page 10. ¿Qué hora es? What hour is it? What time is it? And as I said back earlier, perhaps too much, es la una. Notice the hour is feminine. It's 1 o'clock. Unstated one, as is so typical in Spanish. I'm sorry, unstated it. Es la una. Invisible it is the one. Es la una. Feminine. Then just go y number for the other minutes, like es la 1:40. It's 1:40. All the other hours will be son las, like unstated they are. Son las dos. Unstated they are the two. Notice feminine again. Son las 2:30. It's 2:30. Other ways down the middle of page 10. Mediodía is and medianoche are both treated as singular as well. So es el mediodía, it's the midnight. Es la medianoche. I said it wrong. Es el mediodía, it's midday, noon. Es la medianoche, it's midnight. Other things we won't be teaching in this course. People often say menos or other styles for so many minutes before the hour, like it's 10 of 2 in English. They say son las 2:10. It's 2 minus 10. But we know that's harder for you, and we're going to be using what we call digital time. We'll be saying es la 1:50. It's 1:50, rather than son las 2:10. It's 2 minus 10. But you'll hear that way of doing it too. People often use media for the half hour. Es la 1:30. It's 1:30, 1:30, as we say in English. So you'll hear those, but those won't be the forms that we're focusing on, trying to keep it streamlined for you. And then when an event is, as I said, a qué hora plus verb plus event. A qué hora tienes el examen? At what hour do you have the test? And you'll answer with event, and then the a, and then the la for 1 o'clock or las for 2 o'clock, like tengo la clase a la una. I have class a la una. Or tengo la clase a las dos, at the 2. See, if you do midnight or midday, they're a little bit different. Like on your sheet down near the bottom of page 10, I have descanso a la medianoche. I rest at midnight. And then since noon is masculine, the a and l will contract. like tengo el almuerzo al mediodía. I have lunch at noon. A plus el contracted form al mediodía. So you see, notice that a can mean at or to. Check it out at the bottom of page 10. Nosotros vamos a la biblioteca a las 3. We go to the library at 3 o'clock. In Spanish, they're both a. See? And one more thing on that page is just distinguishing, like in the morning, in the afternoon, and at night in Spanish. It's de la mañana is of the morning, like, so son las 5 de la mañana is 5 of the morning. We would say 5 in the morning. Son las 3 de la tarde, it's 3 of the afternoon, 3 in the afternoon. And son las 9 de la noche, it's 9 at night. So de la mañana, de la tarde, de la noche, to specify 3 in the morning versus 3 in the afternoon, etc. So you say, amigos, I think that mostly covers our screencast. Oh, let's say goodbye with one more piece of trivia to put in your funny Google form quizzes. Oh, look at this. Oh, I got to get it without the glare there. This is General Francisco Franco. Most Americans don't like him. He's no longer living. He was the dictator of Spain from 1939 to 1975. From 36 to 39, Spain has this really atrocious and horrible civil war between a conservative coalition led by General Franco and a socialist to communist coalition. And General Franco's side wins. And then he's the ruler of Spain from 1939 until he dies in 1975. So a long time. See, and after him, he plans it that after his death, the monarchy is restored. And that's why today you see the King of Spain hanging in the classroom, the second king since what we call the restoration of the monarchy, the comeback of the monarchy. But that was set up by General Franco. General Franco established that the monarchy would be reestablished. Now, today, Spain is a parliamentary democracy where the monarch is mostly what people call a figurehead. A little bit more important in Spain than in some other countries because Spain can have a little bit more complicated politics. So the king does more of a referee role in Spain than in some other places. This is General Franco. I bought this portrait when I was in Spain in the 1980-81 academic year when I was a junior in college. Franco died in 75. I was there in 80-81, so it wasn't that long thereafter. And you could still buy his portrait at places like, the big public museums, the state-run museums and castles and royal palaces and all that kind of place that you can go to as museums. So I bought it in the gift shop of one of those places. And since then, Spain has kind of dismantled General Franco. Basically, all the places that had been named for him have been renamed. All his statues have been taken down. Oh, they even moved his body just last year because he was housed in this, very grand, monumental kind of structure. And the liberal Spaniards compared it to building a monument to Hitler, that kind of a thing. And so they moved his remains to a private family cemetery kind of a thing. So most Americans don't think General Franco is a good guy, but there I have it, General Franco, who hangs in my man cave downstairs in my downstairs office. Well, amigos, to finish on that note, on the one hand, these screencasts are really long. On the other hand, I can't apologize for learning a foreign language taking some effort. Yeah, it's going to take some effort if you want to get at it. So everything is in this screencast. You could actually watch it more than once if you wanted to get those things down. Okay, amigos. And additionally, I always welcome your requests for more help. I don't know if we'll have after school once we start 5 days again. It would be nice. Come for extra help. I'll help you learn the box of 6. Okay, amigos. Let's say good night. Ciao for now. Hasta luego.